short film will not do justice to any of the stories, lessons, and experiences of those I interviewed about their time abroad, as each photo and each video has a story of its own. I simply hope you hear the passion, see the excitement, and imagine the adventure.
I plan on going back this summer.
Yeah, I think I'm going back this summer actually.
Definitely. I think I need to go back, but we'll see.
It was good times. It was good times. And yes, there was a moment when I remember having to step aside. Just because, like, for a moment I almost felt overwhelmed. And not overwhelmed because I felt like an outsider, but overwhelmed by, I don't know how to put it. They did not allow for that barrier to be formed at all.
I was so giddy and blissful about where I was. I figured going to an English-speaking country would be simple, but I swear the first 2 weeks I was shocked. I had no idea what they were saying. I'd have to ask, like, I'm so sorry, can you repeat that? Because they speak so quickly and they have so much slang. It's just like, what are you saying to me? And I said that a lot to people.
I was in South India. I was in Bangalore for 2.5 months.
I studied in Melbourne, actually just outside of Melbourne. It was this campus called La Trobe University Bandura.
I was in Poland. That was for a 6-week period. I was staying in Wrocław. Of course, it's a different environment, so every day felt like an adventure. More so than anything, it's the people. You know, meeting new people every day. The culture was very inviting. I feel like Polish individuals, for the most part, are very open and really go out of their way, like bending themselves backwards in order to make sure that you feel comfortable. I know my mind wanders back to how inviting the family was when they took me in. You know, treated me like family minutes after meeting me. They wanted to know me. They made me part of the family. So I did not experience homesickness because of that. The college students that I encountered when I was there, the ones who were actually organized the internship and, like, you know, allowed the opportunity for me to, like, go there and work with the school. They're constantly trying to progress themselves, always working, striving for better. Yeah, just motivated individuals who made me reflect on, like, you know, my life choices, what I'm doing, and what I'd like to do with my life in the future.
You can't live with someone in an area where you're stripped of things that are normal to you and not form a bond with someone. So probably within the first few weeks we had, like, formed a really, really solid bond. But we all live all over the United States, so seeing each other is really difficult, but those girls are my family.
Studying abroad was, like, one of the best experiences I think I've been through. But I, as much as I really liked where I was and what I was doing, I think it was more about the people that I met there and who I interacted with and the experiences I had through them. I had a really close group of friends there, so in their own ways they've all kind of left their mark, but we just did, like, everything together.
The first day we were in Bangalore, we went out into, like, a surrounding neighborhood, and we met this woman named Salma, and she's a shop owner, and we were able to just talk with her and you, like, hear about her life. We asked her questions about, like, Indian society, like, how in the world do we as Americans, like, live in Indian society and try to blend in. And we just kept meeting with her, like, week after week. She was a Muslim lady, and we were able to learn a lot about her religion from her. And then the last week we were there, she invited us to break fast with her.
So going in there, I did have my hesitations. They're deeply Catholic, you know, very religious group. However, like, you know, once actually getting into the culture is when I realized, you know, regardless of that being perhaps the majority belief or, like, you know, perspective on the culture, it still didn't change the fact that, like, you know, with the college students, just like we are at the point in our life where we question everything, you know?
India is really religious in itself. The main religions would be Islam and Hindu. From the roof of our flat we could see 4 temples, and there was a larger mosque down the road. So everywhere you went, people expressed themselves through their religion. So it wasn't uncommon to discuss religion. It was just an everyday part of culture. You go to the temple, you go to the mosque, you give your offering, you do your job for the day. It's an everyday part of life, and it was interesting to be able to talk to people and discuss that on a really easy platform. Ramadan is a religious holiday for the Muslim community, and at the end of each day, all these people would get together and on Mosque Road, all these food vendors would come and they would just bring loads of food, and you just pay a little bit and just go all the way down the road. And so there's people everywhere, there's traffic, there's lights, and there's like this awesome aroma of just like so many unique smells, and it's stuff I've never smelled before, but it was so good. So you just like go and get like a little bit of everything. And I'm usually not adventurous when it comes to food, but it was like, why not? So we finally found the sign that had a camel on it, and this guy yelling, camel, camel, camel. And you just get this piece of camel on a stick. Because of the spices that I used, it was extremely hot, but it was awesome, and so I got to say I had camel.
Aboriginal people are storytellers, so they like to talk about the different spiritual stories that they have, and it was really interesting to hear about the ways that they tie the land into their culture, so that was cool. My favorite trip was going to the Outback. We did like a 4-day camping backpacking thing in the Outback through Uluru and Karajuta and Kings Canyon and stuff like that. It was just so beautiful, and I'd never seen anything like it, and we did a lot of hiking and a lot of outdoor stuff and camping, and we slept under the stars, and our guide was so cool. You think about Indiana Jones or something, and it's basically him. The amount of times he's had near-death experiences in the wilderness, it's like you would think he's making it up. I was like, that's so cool.
Like, what it is makes it what it is. The food, the clothing, the smells, the sounds make it India. Like, I wouldn't change it because it might be changing what it is, you know? Living in India brought to life a culture that I'd only read about. You see pictures of India, you hear sounds, and you know, like, oh, that's probably India. Colors, festivals, Hinduism, all these different things that you know resemble India. But actually going and physically experiencing these things made it more than just a picture on a page. It brought to life all the things I learned in class. It brought to life all these things that you read and you hear about. It made it absolutely real, and it was so in your face that you couldn't ignore it. But it was a beautiful culture, and to be able to interact with it and learn from a face-to-face, hand-to-hand basis was awesome. I feel like more people need those experiences firsthand with things they don't understand to help them break down stereotypes and break down the walls and the negative images they have in their head.
I realized Australia was actually pretty livable. The joke in any country that's not Australia is that if you go to Australia, everything there can kill you. It's not really like that. Melbourne was probably one of the coolest cities I've ever been to, and they have just so much going on. They're just kind of off the radar for the rest of the world, but I think it just changed my perspective and making me realize I could live somewhere else alone, not in the US, and also showed me that Australia is not just a bunch of surfers.
It's easy to let people in, it's easy to create bonds with individuals that you're meeting. And like, I feel like once you reach that point, you do not need to be traveling outside of the country in order for it to like hit you that like, yes, people that we meet affect our lives, and perhaps, you know, I should take a moment and think about how I interact with these individuals. At this stage in our lives, meeting individuals who are right there with you, of course that's an immediate commonality, and then being able to talk and exchange about different perspectives, whether it be professional wise or just about life, life-changing experience. In opening up my mind, the possibilities are truly seen as being infinite. But that means with having as many choices makes it harder to make a decision with regards to like the step forward that you're trying to make and where you're trying to go. I feel that experience that I had can be had anywhere in the world. But understanding that it's your own journey, and I feel like all this culminated to a true sense of independence, a true sense of being able to stand alone and do so confidently and do so just do it, just being able to do it.
Yeah, it was hard to leave.
If I had that much fun there, who knows how much fun I could have in other parts of the world. So, I don't know, need to adventure, need to travel.
There's the rest of the world. So.
Singapore,